Good day everyone. Group 7 will be tackling about poverty set in Taal model. So poverty basically means lack of means to access things. So what is happening over time? As a country belonging to the developing ones, employment opportunities is truly limited therefore, not available for all. Population belonging to the poorest of the poor also doesn't have access to proper education, making it even more challenging for them to get decent jobs. So, according to the World Bank Organization, poverty is hunger, poverty is lack of shelter, poverty is being sick and not being able to see a doctor. Poverty is not having access to school and not knowing how to read. Poverty is not having a job and is having fear for the future and living one day at a time. So, no matter how poverty is defined, it can be agreed that poverty is an issue that needs everyone's attention.
The next part of the Taal model that we will be discussing is the structure or the structures. This basically includes all the reasons or the forces why the patterns have been existing about a certain social problem or issue. Since we are talking about poverty here, I will be discussing about the reasons why the patterns in poverty is existing. First, we have inequality and marginalization. Of course, this is given since opportunities are not for all. Most people, especially those who do not have access to education, doesn't have the competence to get a decent job and to support their family. And of course, marginalization is also an issue where um, there are sectors or areas in the society that have not been given importance or have not been acknowledged. Next is the lack of education. As I have said earlier, the lack of education also equates to lack of competence, and most of the industries or employment industries nowadays are looking for people who are well educated to work. Another factor that contributes to poverty is the lack of government support. So this is pretty self-explanatory given the situation of the Philippines belonging to the third world countries and the high increasing number of population. It would really be difficult for the government to provide and cater all the needs of the poor Filipinos. And so this is making poverty a hard to resolve problem. The next one is the failure of the country to promote the agricultural sectors. It is very important in reducing hunger. So, of course, the improvement of agricultural sectors would also mean that less Filipinos will be hungry. But then, since it is not given much attention, it has become part of the problem. And lastly, we have the high levels of population growth. Of course, given that employment opportunities are tight and not everyone has equal access to education, the high rising number of population is also contributing to the poverty rate of the country. So finally, we are going to discuss the mental models, the very base part of the Taal model. So this seeks to answer the question as to how our thinking allows this situation or problem to persist, or what are the beliefs and assumptions that keeps these problems in place. So with regards to poverty, the mental assumption that keeps poverty in place is number one, the beliefs of the people that poverty is an escapable situation. So there are those people who have been contented in life already that they do not chase for opportunity anymore because they believe that wherever they are at life right now is their final destination. Because of being poor, they thought that opportunities are not for them. So they simply do not try at all because of that notion. And last contributing factor is the bahala na and the mañana habit. So I would not elaborate this more because we know that this is so familiar to us. We tend to disregard things, or we tend to not give much attention on things that could potentially bring us success because we always believe that whatever happen will happen, and that we always set aside things that needs to be done now for later because we believe that we still have time. And that is another factor that actually contributes to poverty.